Hello, my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be my 2023 TBR. My 2023 TBR is kind of a mess right now. I have a lot of books that I want to read this year. I have a lot of things that I'm thinking about. I've put some things out into the world via TikTok and Instagram. And it's like, yeah, I did commit to those books, but I also want to commit to like these other books too. And because I just have so many books floating around in my mind right now, it's made this whole TBR thing a lot more complicated than it has any right to be. So for today, I really want to keep this video simple. I chose 8 books that I feel like talking about and that I feel like I will, at some point throughout the year, read. A lot of them are also books that I've either haven't talked about on this channel in a while or haven't talked about ever, with a couple of exceptions here and there, but not much at all. So with that, the content warnings for all of the books I talk about today will be linked down below in the description, and let's go ahead and get started. So with that, the first book in my 2023 TBR is A Snake Falls to Earth by Darcie Little Badger. This follows one of our main characters, Nina, who has always believed that there is something more out there, and then this also follows our other main character, Ollie, who has been cast from his home of spirits and monsters and has since found a new home in the banks of the bottomless river. These two have no idea that the other one exists until their worlds collide one day in a way that they haven't for centuries due to a catastrophe. However, there are some out there who would kill in order to keep these worlds apart. I read Alatsue by Darcie Little Badger a couple of years ago now, and I really enjoyed that book. And one of the things that I loved the most about Alatsue was its world and its world building, and I do think that this book is going to provide me with yet another world that I am just going to want to explore all of and learn everything about. Because it sounds super interesting based off of the description, I'm also interested in whatever catastrophe befalls the earth here, because I am really curious to see what that involves, and then I'm also just looking forward to getting to know the characters in here, especially since I loved our main character in Alatsue, and I think she had some really heartwarming relationships with the other characters in the book, so I am hoping for more of that here as well. I did see a review that says that this book is pretty different from Alatsue, and overall, I just really am looking forward to seeing what this author has created this time around. So next up is Autoboyography by Christina Lauren. This is a coming-of-age story surrounding 2 boys. One is from a progressive family, and then the other is from a religious conservative community. And these two fall in love during a writing class. This has been on my TBR for literal, actual years. And I've also been meaning to read Christina Lauren for even longer than I've been meaning to read this book. But neither of those things have happened yet, and I want those things to happen. Like, it is time. It is past time. I tend to really enjoy when books focus in on writing and stories and books in general. So I'm really looking forward to that aspect of things in here, and then I'm also really looking forward to the romance as well. I've heard really amazing things about this book for such a long time. It's one of those books that I am 100% sure that as soon as I pick it up, I'm going to at least really enjoy it and probably even love it. Like, I have always had a good feeling about this, and I am slowly but surely prioritizing books that have sat on my TBR for long amounts of time, and this is definitely one of the ones that I want to finally move off of that TBR shelf and move to my red shelves. That's these back here. So next up is Faith Taking Flight by Julie Murphy. This is a superhero origin story that follows our main character who lives a pretty normal teenage life, from volunteering at her animal shelter to obsessing over her favorite teen drama. However, that all changes when she discovers that she can fly, and that teen drama relocates to her hometown. When animals and people begin to go missing and a new designer drug infiltrates her high school, our main character will have to risk everything and confront her new gifts in order to save her friends and her town. This is another one that has spent quite a few years on my TBR shelves. I'm not too familiar with Julie Murphy yet, but again, I have heard just amazing things about this author's stories. And for this story in particular, I tend to get really into superhero stories, so I'm hoping that I'm going to love this one as well. I'm also really excited for the romance here. I also know this dives into like some fandom elements, and that all sounds super fun and adorable. And as always with superhero stories, I'm really excited to see the villain and just whoever it is and whatever it is that that character is doing. I have seen some reviews that say this book does have a pretty significant pacing issue, but I know this book also has a sequel, and I would love to get into like a lot of Julie Murphy's work, so I'm going to read this one. I'm going to start here and just see how it goes, and hopefully it goes really well because I think it has a lot of potential too. So next up is Flip the Script by Lyla Lee. This follows our main character who lands the lead role in a new K-drama. She agrees to do a contracted romance with her co-star who is falling for her, but she's not interested in this beyond the contract. However, when the showrunners bring on a new lead actress that challenges our main character's role as the main love interest, our main character must fight to keep her position while also falling for her new on-screen rival. This sounds super fun and adorable, which I am finding might just be a common theme for this author's stories, as we'll talk about later on in this video. I'm really excited for the romance here more than anything, but I also do think like that K-drama actress and actor setting sounds really cool. So I'm really excited for that as well. I've been wanting to read this book ever since I saw its adorable pastel cover, which again seems to be a common theme for this author. And I really am hoping that I am going to love this book as much as I think that I am going to. And I'm also hoping that it's not going to be like too love triangle-y, because that might not go well for me. Like, I think it's going to be okay. I really want to believe that, but we'll see. Next up is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This follows our main character Chloe Brown, who comes up with a list of how to get a life after almost dying. She wants to do something bad, which for Chloe is not as easy as it sounds, even with her step-by-step guidelines. So she enlists a heartthrob handyman artist with tattoos and a motorcycle to be her teacher. She then begins to learn more things about him and what truly lies beneath his tough exterior. This one has a lot of hype around it. And everything that I've ever heard about not only this book but also the other books in the series have all been like amazing and positive. And that's only made me want to dive into this book and all of the other books more than I already do. And that of course starts with this book right here. I'm thinking that this might make a good Valentine's Day read. I'm also hoping that this one is going to start me on a marathon of sorts through the rest of my romance books, because I own a lot of them because their covers are always adorable and they always sound so fun. And there are a lot of romance books that have a lot of hype around them, and I want to hype them too. But they do tend to sit around on my TBR for some reason, and I want that to stop. So I want to start strong here, and I definitely think that this book is the correct choice to go with. And next up is I'll Be the One by Lyla Lee. This follows our main character Sky, who is determined to enter the world of K-pop and break all of the rules that society has set for girls with her body type. So she enters an internationally televised competition that is looking for the next K-pop star. She nails her audition, and afterwards she is immediately swept up in a whirlwind of reality television, both the expected things and also the unexpected. And we follow Sky while she strives for her dreams of becoming the first plus-size K-pop star, while also trying to not lose herself in the process. So like Flip the Script, I am very excited for the television setting of this. This one is reality competition, which I do tend to really enjoy, so that plus K-pop sounds like a good time. And I know I mentioned this cover while talking about Flip the Script, but I feel like this cover just radiates happiness. And like, I want to feel that happiness too while reading this book. Like, that is my main goal here. And it's that feeling that has always drawn me towards this book even before finding out what this book was about. And that feeling has only ever grown stronger once I read the description. I do think that I probably am going to read this one before Flip the Script, since I do think it came out first. But either way, I've owned it for like a little bit longer than Flip the Script, so it's going first anyway, and I'm excited for it. Next up is The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim, which is the sequel to Six Crimson Cranes. This follows our main character Shiori, who has a hidden forbidden magic, and before her betrothal ceremony, she loses control over said magic, and although she has avoided the wedding that she does not want, she has caught the attention of her sorceress stepmother. This is the only sequel on this list, which is mildly concerning to me because I have a lot of sequels that I want and need to read, but that will happen eventually. I have plans, they're just not in this video. But this one is, because I don't don't ever want to miss an opportunity to hype 6 Crimson Cranes. It was one of my favorite books that I read last year, and also just one of my favorite stories that I've ever read ever. From the writing, to the setting, to the overall atmosphere. I mentioned love triangles earlier, and I do know that this book has one, which makes me a little bit nervous, but this author has made me really like things and even love things that I have not enjoyed in the past, so there's a level of trust here. I'm probably more optimistic about it than I should be. There's also a character in this series that I've always wanted to learn more about, and I think that that is finally going to happen in this book. And this is also just one of the books that I am most excited to read in 2023. I really think that I am going to love and adore this book just like I did with the first one, because I really don't want to imagine any other reality, because that will make my heart so sad and disappointed, and I don't want that. And finally, the last book that we are going to be talking about today is The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. This takes place in a world where the girls undergo a blood ceremony in order to determine whether or not they will be cast out from their village. During that ceremony, our main character's blood runs gold, which according to the village is a sign of impurity. A mysterious woman comes to her and offers her that she can either stay in the village and submit to her fate, or go with her and fight for the emperor with other girls who are just like her, as they are the only army who is able to stop the Empire's greatest threat. This is a book that I've been wanting to read ever since it came out, and it's been calling out to me more recently. This one sounds like it has a lot of interesting things going on, especially with whatever threat the Empire is facing. According to Storygraph, the mood of this story is pretty dark, which I typically really like, which only makes me more curious and more interested in this book than I already was. Based off of the description, I do think that this may end up leaning into some more typical YA tropes than I would usually be excited for. But I also know this book has its fair share of hype around it, so considering all of that, I am still definitely really excited to read this book. I also do know that this book has a sequel. I'm hoping to get a new series to read out of this, because why finish the other series that you love and adore when you can just start new ones? Or you could do both, but that never seems to happen for me. Okay, so those are all of the books that I'm going to be talking about today. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that. And hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye.